there was obviously a completely different Sunderland side who blew everybody away with that particular match against Southampton.
Certainly did. And, what made it even more kind of ironic was the fact that, Tony Mowbray's brother Darren is head of recruitment at Southampton, their opposition, yesterday lunchtime. Very much involved in transfer activity with Southampton as well. They sold Ross Stewart for £10 million, had an offer for Patrick Roberts, I think £5 million, which Sunderland kind of laughed out of the room, rejected. But taking a player who scored so many goals for them, 24 hours between the two teams play each other, from your brother, and then he goes and beats you 5-0 on the Saturday, rounded off by 16-year-old Chris Rigg getting on the score sheet with a back post header as well. I looked through the Championship, and it's funny, I've been looking at the league table now, and you've got so many up-and-coming young managers in there. Ryan Lowe at Preston, Kieran McKenna at Ipswich, John Eustace at Birmingham City, Liam Rosenior doing a great job at Hull this season, but just behind them, tucked up behind them, Nigel Pearson's Bristol City, and then Tony Mowbray at Sunderland. Two managers who, they've been around a while, but they know how to put winning teams together. And I think, Tony Mowbray celebrated a year last week since he took over at Sunderland after Alex Neil's departure for Stoke. And, even though they sell players, even though they haven't got the budget probably of a lot of teams in their division, this is a manager that knows how to get teams winning. He's trusted to take players on loan. And that 5-0 demolition of Southampton yesterday, I think, proves that, like last year when they made the playoffs, they're very much a team to be considered in contention.
I think, is it Fleetwood Town have also made an appointment in Lee Johnson?
They've appointed Lee Johnson, which is really interesting because he was only sacked by Hibs a month ago, less than a month ago, actually. I know for a fact Carl Robinson, the former Oxford boss, turned it down. It's people might look at it and go, well, a manager sacked by Hibs. But, I find it quite interesting. He's not the first manager to go up there from England and not have success. You think Paul Heckingbottom 3-4 years ago got sacked by Hibs, and now he's managing Sheffield United in the Premier League. This is an opportunity for Lee Johnson to get his career as a manager in England back going again. But, he's been managing for a decade now. He's only 41 over 500 games. Fleetwood, difficult football club at the moment because have been in a bit of a state of flux off the pitch. He's been talking about trying to help create a pathway for young players to get into the first team there. But that's 4 managers we've had sacked in the EFL, and we're, 5 weeks into the season.
It's a very healthy-looking top of the Championship table to me.
Yeah, and I feel like there's some really good stories emanating from this current season. Ipswich Town, Kieran McKenna, we talked about him as a bright young manager coming up on the ropes. And my big fear for Ipswich was that Kieran McKenna was going to get picked off. Now, I've seen he's been linked with the Rangers job. I don't think he's going to take it. And if I'm honest with you, and I don't mean this to offend Rangers supporters, but you look at Michael Beale a year ago when he left Queen's Park Rangers, in a similar position to Ipswich in the table right now. And I think, why would you take a job in Scotland when, you're either going to get Ipswich to the Premier League, because I think they're really in pole position right now, or you're going to get probably an offer of a Premier League job anyway if you don't get Ipswich up. You look at the league table at the moment, 8 points between Ipswich and Preston in third. They met at the weekend. And I've got to be honest, in the highlights of that game, I thought there was a class divide between the two, to be honest with you. And that's been the case with Ipswich throughout the whole of this season. This is a team that has been built over the last 18 months. And you know what? In this world of changing managers every 2 minutes that we live in right now in football, when you look at the consistency that Ipswich have had when they stuck by their young first-time manager with his philosophy that has been clear from the very beginning, you can see them reaping the rewards from it now.
I'm beginning to see an